Good morning. This is Norma Cowie with a Sunday thought. During the week, I can have many thoughts on many things. And one of the things that crossed my mind was, first of all, this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving in our U.S. friends. Canadians have it in October. Now, Thanksgiving or gratitude to me is extremely important. And one of the things that I find is when I go to bed at night is to think of at least 3 things during the day that I'm thankful and grateful for. I find when I fall out of that habit, because like all habits, we kind of forget them sometimes, is that we need to come back. I just kind of got a little sidetracked there. One of the things that I found that if I don't do this consistently, I kind of slip away from it and I get a little bit more disgruntled with life, or life doesn't work exactly as I would like it to and how I want it to. So one of the things I'm going to suggest is just when you go to bed at night, whatever you do to think of that greater force, that greater power, just say thank you for 3 things that you were grateful for experiencing. It may be a thought, it may be a feeling, it may be something that occurred. So you might find that that's really beneficial. But saying thank you, plus I also say thank you a lot during the day when something works really well. The other thought I wanted to have today came from a phone call actually I had around projection that we often do onto others or from others. It can go both ways. Projection is when we put onto somebody else or have somebody put onto us a thought or a belief that they believe is true about you or about the circumstances. And unfortunately, very often, that's not exactly true at all. That's not exactly what's happening or taking place. Now, what happens with projections very often, it becomes like a power game. And so therefore, you're going either power over or power under. Power over is when you kind of control, you dictate, and you use whatever is possible for yourself to win. We'll say that you're going to be right. Usually people get very authoritative or some other way. Now, power under is where you take the projection that's being displayed onto yourself, and you will feel less than. You will feel unworthy. You will feel not sure. You will feel, what am I supposed to do with this information or whatever? Now, power under and power over, either way, doesn't work very well. Whether we're projecting onto somebody else or they are projecting onto you. Where does this really come from? Where it comes from is decisions, events, circumstances that have happened in our childhood. The childhood carries so much that we spend most of our lives working out. But still, when you find yourself working with somebody that is vicious or dictatorial or whatever term you want to put onto it, it's not really you. It's about what has happened to them and how it's happened and how it's worked. And you're left with kind of the garbage, you might say, that's put upon you, not knowing always what to do with it. But what it does is often triggers what's happened inside. It triggers your feelings of inadequacy, your feelings of not being sure. I had a very strong father, very disciplinarian father. And even though he worked a lot in my life, I didn't really see him like every day or anything when I was young. He had a tremendous influence because, man, you did what you were told or look out. And so what happens when I used to run into someone of a little bit of authority, I would kind of get very hesitant. And it did take me some time to learn to be able to stand in my own power. You being in your personal power is really important, but also it's to understand where the other person is coming from, their inadequacies, their inability to have a conversation. Because deep down, in both cases, people are afraid of being wrong. Now, what is being wrong? In whose eyes are you wrong? You're not wrong in the eyes of your creator, You're not wrong in the eyes of the universal love force, as I like to call it for these things. You're just working to understand. And it really isn't a lot about who we are or what we are, if we've achieved or not achieved. This is about us recognizing who we are and noticing when we're triggered. That's a word, a trigger. Are you triggered? If it triggered you, it's touched on some memory somewhere and it's elicited an emotional response. And those emotions are put in place when you're young. They have happened when you're young and didn't have any reasoning, didn't have any personal power. And so now, in this day and age, when somebody projects to you and kind of demands or asks something from you that doesn't feel right, you can stand in your power and just say, this doesn't feel right. But also you can take the time to go and look inside and find out what was that trigger about? What was the event? What originally happened? And sometimes we have many similar events. You know, they kind of, because life is wonderful that way. It keeps recreating situations in order that we get to see who we are. Actually, we create them because we have that within us. And that is one of the things that we find hard sometimes to accept the responsibility that when we have these events keeping on occurring, that we have to look within, that we have to assume responsibility, that we play a part in that. How come we're attracting that? Or how come even if it does happen, we're not responding effectively? Because we do have things happen. We have sometimes some patterns repeat often, some patterns repeat seldom, but it's always about how do we respond? What is our response internally? If we start thinking less than ourselves, if we think we're unworthy, if we're thinking whatever we're going to be thinking, basically it means we're not believing and trusting in ourselves because we still have a little bit more work to do. And that's always when you get on a little bit and you think you've done most of the work and all of a sudden you realize, there's something else here I need to look at and work on. And that's why we have people to help us to do that. And that's why we work. The key is for you to live your life in an effective manner, that you're handling and dealing with whatever's coming up with ease and grace, and that you're not, I'm going to use the word suffering here because I don't know what else to put out. Reacting. Reacting might be a better word. You don't want to be reacting to somebody else's projection because of where their pain is being projected onto you. You want to be able to recognize that. You want to be able to stand firmly in who the sense of who you are and how it works and how it creates. And I think that's our Sunday thought. But remember, mostly Thursday is American Thanksgiving Day. Be thankful. Remember 3 things every day to be thankful for, whether it be a phone call, whether it be something you saw on TV, where it's a walk and you heard some birds, saw some trees. We're moving into fall here, so it's like snow even actually fell a little bit the other day. So lots of delights to be thankful for. And one is movement and being able to be free to be able to do that. Wish you well. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye now.